Hello, family. This is Toast to Love. I am Isaac McGimpsey.
And I am Jackie McGimpsey, and we are coming to you today from the beautiful 410, the South Ocean Boulevard Club Wyndham, here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, celebrating my birthday.
And family, we just want to thank you for all the well-wishing and happy birthday for Jackie. We're just taking some time away. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about getting closer in intimacy. But before we jump into that, we would like to say these are our last 3 episodes of season 1. So today is episode 10, and then we'll next week have the following week have an episode, and then our last episode of season 1 we'll be talking about legacy. We'll be talking about family, and we're gonna have some special guests on for that. It's gonna be exciting. Well, family, today we're talking about getting closer and creating intimacy in your relationship. And we just feel like this is so important for a relationship to get closer, be intimate. So I'm going to start off with a definition. You know, intimacy it's a familiarity. It's getting close. It's, particularly between a husband and a wife. It's a kinship, a friendship. It's knowing that person. It's knowing the little nuances. Like this lady right here, she loves cheesecake, and particularly from the Cheesecake Factory. That's something that
Dolce de leche, extra brick.
Extra bricka. So just things like that. And then even, important, really, really important stuff like, how you going to raise your kids and things like that. So we're going to dive into the 4 types of intimacy and just go through that for this session.
And I'm going to get started. The first type of intimacy we want to talk about today is intellectual intimacy. And, we may be asking, well, what is intellectual intimacy? Does that mean we meet each other with the same degree or college education or the same knowledge of any situation that we're going into? It's not that you have to agree. It's that you can have the conversation. Intellectual intimacy allows you and your partner to be in agreement with each other on major life decisions.
That's
like
right.
How you talk to each other, how you raise your children, making for sure you're on the same wavelength. Just to give you an example of that, to say, and I'm going to use politics because it's in this climate that we're in. It's been so different, I think,
Right.
And within households, it could even be different.
That's right.
If he was a Republican, I was Democrat. If I was Republican, he was Democrat or independent or whatever you want it to be. Can we still agree to disagree on topics intellectually and be okay in our marriage? It's possible. You can do it because I understand that he loves me. He understands that I love him. And no matter what he thinks on a certain topic, that does not have to dictate what he thinks and feels about me. He can respect the way that I feel, and I can respect the way that he feels, and we can get along. It's possible.
And another reason I think that's very important is, let's just take child rearing. Let's talk about that, because the children are in the house.
That's right.
The children are part of the family, and they're going to be watching us, family. They're going to be taking notes on how we handle issues, and our children learn a lot from us. So give us an example. Let's talk about, what if we have intellectual differences on rearing our children?
For us, and that's a special one for us because, we've raised a lot of children, and we've had a lot of children come in and out of the house. What that means is that the way that he wants to raise boys and the way that I wanted to raise boys would have been 2 different things.
Right.
He's the hardline, tough. Let's go. They got to do this. If they don't get this, they're not gonna make it. If they don't get this, and I'm, mommy's a little more. I was a little bit more on the soft side. Hey, can you give him a break just a little bit?
No.
Back up.
No.
But I respect the fact that he's a man and that he knows what it's going to take to raise a man.
That's right.
And I can still give them that love and support, but I respect the fact that my husband's going to teach this man how to live in the world today with all the things that we have going on. And I don't know, I'm a woman.
And on the flip side of that, if we're just talking about sons, this applies to daughters as well. Jackie has a perspective on raising sons. How many of us know sons need their mothers? And so it's just having that admiration and respect for your spouse and what their perspective is on raising children. And that applies to daughters. We have perspectives on that, and we just merge them together. And guess what, family? Our perspectives have nuanced and changed over the years as we evolve as people
and as we respect one another.
Exactly. So that's intellectual intimacy. Just two examples. It could be subjects like traveling, be particular ideas on finances. It's just bringing both of those ideas together. So the next one is emotional intimacy. We're getting a little deeper. And, emotional intimacy is when you're emotionally close and when you're vulnerable, family. I know for some, it's when you really let your guard down. Right. It's the real you. Jackie has this saying. She says, boy, if people could see you at home. I mean, I'm very animated, very opinionated, very demonstrative. And so she knows the real me. I mean, and not that I'm being fake or anything else, but she knows just about every aspect of me because I'm vulnerable with her. Men, I'm going to just put a challenge out here to you, especially those men that are married or you're thinking about getting married. You need to learn how to be vulnerable with your spouse. You need to learn to let them know what's going on deep down inside of you, because if you don't share it with them, who are you going to share it with? So,
and emotional intimacy is also beginning to share your hopes and dreams with your partner.
That's right.
And we talk about that a lot in our counseling sessions. If you don't know your partner's hopes and dreams, then how can you push them forward to the next level of where they want to get to? And if it is your goal to help them to excel and to get further, you got to know what you're talking about. And sometimes that's being vulnerable, because what if your goal is, I want to be a doctor or a psychologist or an engineer, and that's going to entail you going back to school. Once you put that out there, then your mate is going to be again encouraging you to say, these are your hopes and dreams and I want you to go after them. It's that accountability. And sometimes people have a problem, or they shy away from putting that stuff out there because it's something they're thinking they really want it, but they're kind of scared to go for it. Put it out there. Get an account. Your mate's going to be your best accountability partner.
That's right.
And they're going to push you towards your hopes and dreams, because that's what your mates do. They'll get mad because they're saying, this is what you said you want to do. Now I'm going to help you to go that way. Don't get mad at them when you put your hopes and dreams out there. That's a part of being vulnerable. Not only being vulnerable, but also helping you to stay on track and keep your goals in line.
Well, family, I'm big on homework. My mom was a school teacher, so I got a little homework for you. Particularly for the men, I encourage our wives to do this as well. Sit down and think about the things you fear and the things that motivate you, and maybe write 2 or 3 of those things down and discuss that with your spouse. Those I fear, I get anxious when. Those are important for your spouse to know, because situations could arise and your spouse notice, hey, you seem fearful, you seem anxious,
you seem distant,
and they would have an inside cheat sheet to what's going on with you internally. You got to discuss those things that you're fearful of, so you can pray about it, so you can come together about it. And then also those things that motivate you. I mean, sometimes we have in our practice, we see couples, they're not even sure what those hopes and dreams are, or what even motivates that spouse. So it's important to write those things down and share those this week with your spouse.
That's right. So the next one we're going to go to is physical intimacy. Now, listen.
Oh my goodness.
Physical intimacy does not always have to lead to sex.
That's right.
But it can. Not going to say don't do it. Hey, we're married. You got a license for this. This is when you get the opportunity to do that. But also, you want to make for sure that you're having physical intimacy before you lead up to that. Some people will call physical intimacy foreplay, but foreplay starts in the morning. Foreplay starts when you wake up. Foreplay starts yesterday, for 2 days from now. Something that you should participate in all the time. Touching your partner, getting close to your partner, knowing your partner.
Oh, girl.
I mean, it's been known to tear down walls and break chains. If you can just take the time. If your partner's having a rough day, don't just go, hey, you having a bad day?
Yeah,
Touch them. Sometimes you may not have to say it. Sometimes you may just want to walk up to them and touch them and hug them and, hey, I'm here for you.
We're a touchy-feely family because one of my love languages, that's my primary love language is touch. Hers is service, acts of service, but mine's is touch. I like to touch. I like to be touched, particularly by Jackie. When we first started dating and stuff, Jackie was like, man, you're so touchy-feely, but that's my primary love language. And so I just think it's important to know that about your spouse. And touch is so important, to touch and agree from a scriptural standpoint, to come together. Our greatest moments together have when we have bonded and touched and agreed. So here's some things on the screen, from cuddling to holding hands to kissing. Massage your spouse, and even up to having sex. Now, family, our next week's podcast, we're going to talk about sex. We're going to really delve into that, and talk about it. It's something that we have a license and right to talk about as married folk.
That's right.
And even if you're thinking about getting married, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So,
and I do want to say this, for people who've been married a little bit longer, because, when we first started dating, I'm sure most people first start dating, that's not a problem. The physical part's not a problem. But as we get married and we start to go through life and things start to happen, that emotional intimacy is so important. The physical, the touching, the kissing, because a lot of married people just kind of stop doing that.
That's right.
When's the last time you kissed your mate? Take the time, at least 1 or 2 seconds every day, 1 to 10 seconds every day. Hold a kiss. It'll make a big difference because people need to know that you care.
That's right.
So that they know that you care.
That's right. That's right. So, family, we talked about intellectual. That's right. We talked about
physical.
That's right. And we talked about emotional. The fourth type of intimacy is, I think, one of the most important is
unconditional
intimacy. So what is that? That's loving each other no matter what the flaws are. That's loving each other no matter what your weaknesses are. That's looking at your strengths and your weaknesses as a couple. So let's talk about that a little bit, Jack.
I think this is the most important, because this is when you have to love when you're angry, you're mad, had a bad day, we had a bad argument. So does that mean you stop loving each other? Does that mean you stop touching each other? The quicker you can get over an argument and put your hand back on your mate and let them know that you're still there, even though you might have had a rough moment. You could have had a rough 10 moments, but try not to let it go too far, because that unconditional intimacy, no matter what is going on, no matter what you've done or what I've done, I still love you.
That's right.
And I still want us to work this thing out. It's being able to say we can move forward.
Right.
When you can forgive and forget the mistakes that you both have made.
Right.
It's not amnesia. It's saying, I'm good with this today, and we're going to move forward as a couple because we love one another. And it matters what you did. Quickly apologize, forgive, and move forward, because that's when you're going to be able to create that real intimacy. Nothing's better than that makeup love.
That's right.
Hey. It's time, when it comes time to make up, when you can say, and that's what makes makeup love better.
That's right.
Because no matter what you've done, I still love you. I can still be intimate with you. And if you're having a problem with that, then give us a call. That's what we do.
Hey, did my wife say makeup love? I love it. I love it. I love it.
Coaching, and we do just trying so we can help couples.
We do modeling,
mentoring.
We model correct behaviors.
That's right.
We model what correct things to say. And get this, family. We don't try to profess that we're the end all be all. One of our mottos is couples helping couples. And I really think it's important that there is no it couple. There is no prom king and queen in Marriage Uncut and in Toast to Love. We need you. We need input from all of our couples. We need input from all of our couples that are thinking about getting married, because you will bring a perspective and you will bring a strength to what we're doing. So it's about every couple bringing value to what we do. So just as a recap, we're talking about intimacy. We're talking about getting closer. We talked about the 4 ways to get close, and in leading up to unconditional intimacy, which I think is one of the most important. But all of them have value, and so at the end of the day, we want you to get close to your spouse. We want you to draw closer, and so if you're having issues with that, as Jackie said, right here on the page, here's a few ways to reach out to us. You want to give them that?
Hey, you can go to our website, marriageuncut.com. We have a couples intimacy. We have a couples checklist. Go down there, take that test. See if you hit any of those markers, give us a call. That's what we're here for. We have a Facebook group called Marriage Uncut. Hey, our partners, Kat and Latanya Garrett, are awesome. They're on every Thursday night giving you tips and tricks and hacks on how to make your relationship better every week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us and subscribe. It's Marriage Uncut on YouTube. Toast to Love. We actually Toast to Love on YouTube.
On YouTube, we're Toast to Love TV. Please go on and subscribe. We want to try to get our subscribership up, and eventually we got some exciting things coming on in the next couple of weeks. Number one, we're launching our prayer group.
That's right.
And because we want to pray for marriages. Number two, we're hopeful to do some intensives. And we'll explain what that looks like. Just small, intimate settings where we can do some intense work. And then, of course, we always do our counseling. We're counseling couples, coaching couples, mentoring couples weekly.
Yeah. Hey, and we just inbox us if you know someone that may need our services. That's what we're here for.
Well, hey, family, we kind of chopped up intimacy, and next week we'll be talking about sex, and then the last week we'll be capping off season 1 talking about legacy. Legacy is so important with marriage. But until next time, family, we just love you guys, and we thank God for you.
Amen. Have a great day.